Hi guys, in this video I'm going to share with you the unboxing, the review and the instructions on the Elle TENS 2 device. I've just had my little baby boy here 3 weeks ago. I had a VBAC home birth. I will also make a video about my VBAC home birth later on and put a link underneath this video. If you had a C-section before, you might be interested in that. So I had the Elle TENS 2 device for pain relief in labor with my son. The Elle TENS 2 is the follow-up model of the Elle TENS. The main difference between Elle TENS and Elle TENS 2 is basically that the Elle TENS 2 has a contraction timer, which I found very useful in labor. When I had my daughter 2 years ago, I timed the contractions on my mobile phone, and I didn't have to do that with the Elle TENS 2 device. So that's the main difference, but I think apart from that, everything else is the same. So if you have the Elle TENS device and you would like to know how the different modes work, how to set it up, you can also check out this video. I will put the chapters underneath here as well. So I've rented the Elle TENS 2 device here in the UK from babycaretens.com, and I will also speak to you about the rental in a few moments. So yeah, when I had my daughter 2 years ago in hospital, I had a TENS device. The midwives gave me that for pain relief, and it got me through several hours of labor. Really tough labor contractions. Unfortunately, my daughter wasn't properly aligned, so we had to do an emergency C-section with her. So if you have any pain in pregnancy, any pelvic pains, anything like that, I do advise you get a chiropractor to check you out and maybe go there a few times to get you properly aligned. So she wasn't properly aligned and I ended up in a C-section. So this time around with my son, I went to several times to the chiropractor, and I knew I wanted this TENS device because it helped me through so many hours of labor. It's not a given here in the UK that you get that in a hospital or if you are having a home birth. So you have to rent it or purchase one. So I've rented it from babycaretens.com. You can also purchase these TENS devices yourself. The Elle TENS cost around £70, the Elle TENS 2 around £80. So it's not that much, but especially if you would like to use the TENS device afterwards for pain relief. That's what some people use it for pain relief. Like for joint pains, knee pains, etc., then you can buy it, you can purchase it if you think you might need it in the future. But I didn't need it, so I've rented it. And the rental with babycaretens.com was great. At 37 weeks of pregnancy, you have to tell them your due date. They send you the device, and it arrived with everything, even extra batteries. And also instructions and labels on how to send it back. And my little baby boy, he was overdue over a week, so he came on the Friday, and on the following Monday we called actually them up and said, just make sure, it would have been the last day to send back the device, and just to make sure, and they reminded us that you actually get 1 free week's extension if you need it. You just have to let them know. So that was great, and they were really friendly, the customer care, so I can definitely recommend you renting from them. And also the device was clean, etc. Nothing, it seemed like a new TENS machine. So a TENS machine, what is a TENS machine? It is kind of, how to explain it, it's a bit like sending electrical shocks, but not really shocks, not like electrical shocks. Lends almost like vibrations to your back. These for the labor, you put them on your back, the 4 electrodes, and it kind of distracts you from the pain in labor, from the contractions. And yes, this device, it got me through with my son as well here. I was 36 hours in labor, and I probably used the device 12-14 hours, I'm not really sure, but it really got me through a lot of pain. And I didn't want to have any medications for pain relief, so because it can badly affect the baby. So that was my option, and I had 2 combs as well for pain relief, and that was it. So I can definitely recommend you a TENS machine for labor. Also, gas and air didn't work for me, it makes me sick, so that was my only option here. Maybe a water birth, but I didn't really want to have a water bath in my house. It's not big enough, our apartment. So yeah, the Elle TENS 2 has the contraction timer, which I found really useful, but as I said, the Elle TENS one is very similar to this one. They both have these different modes on the strength of the electric, or these sort of vibrations to send to your back. I advise you to have someone there to put these electrodes on your back. I think one of the electrodes I didn't place properly, because when I made it to the highest, strongest setting, it sort of gave me some strange pains. So, and it wasn't like that in hospital before with my daughter, so I do suggest you have someone there to put these electrodes on you. The electrodes that came with the Babycare TENS device, the official one, they are reusable, so you don't have to buy any extra. I thought, well, maybe at first, maybe should I buy, but it said it's reusable. So before labor, I tested actually the TENS device. I made sure it works, and so. And then I put it back on these papers, this sort of plastic paper. Yes, you want some milk. So I put it back on the plastic paper, and it worked fine. And also I could reuse it. It's kind of a sticky stuff. So yeah, I can definitely recommend it to you. Now let's unbox it and show you how the Elle TENS 2 device works. So this is how it arrived from babycaretens.com in this pouch. And now let's have a look what's inside. If you purchase it, obviously a lot of these items are also included, instructions, the unit, I think 2 cables included, batteries. The electrodes are also included online when you purchase it. So here you can see this is the Elle TENS 2 device. Then here we have, they actually included an extra set of these wires. These wires go in the electrodes. So we have 3 of these wires, and this one here is the neck cord. It goes around the bottom there, and yeah, it was very useful, the neck cords. In the end, I just had it around my neck and let it do its thing. So here is another one of those wires, and a 3rd set. Maybe in the past some didn't work, so they add you 3 for the rental. But I think when you purchase it, you only get 2 wires. So here are the instructions of the Elle TENS 2 device. And then we have, in the rental, there are 2 sets of 2 batteries. I only used 1 set of these 2 batteries. That was enough. And here are the electrodes. Self-adhesive electrodes, and they are reusable. And these are the official ones. So here is the instruction manual, and you can see, first of all, we check what's included, that everything is there, and then you assemble the unit. You need to make sure that it's switched off, and then you turn it around, the Elle TENS 2 unit, and you move the belt clip upwards at the back by pressing this button in the middle, and then you put the batteries in there, 2 AA batteries at the correct points, and then you put the cover back on, and then you start adding these wires at the top of the unit. So let's set it up. So here is the lead wire, one of them, and we take this part here and put it in here. And then we take another lead wire and put it in the other side. And then you would connect it to the pads, the electrodes. And it doesn't matter which red or black wire you put into the pads, that really doesn't matter. It's just important that you remember which side of these wires here, left and right, goes to the top and goes to the bottom. I will show you that now. Here are the electrodes in this package here. So let's take them out. You have 4 electrodes, these sticky pads here. And so let's take, first of all, the one from the left lead wire, this one. First one black one of the left lead wire and one the red. It doesn't matter which red or black you use. And then we will use the lead wire on the right hand side and put it in the other 2 pads. So here you can see again, these are the ones from the left hand side. And now we just take the one from the right hand side here and connect them to 2 pads, the other 2. And that is it actually. Then we can get started with the TENS device here. So let's have another look at the instructions here. So in here it says the sticky electrode pads need to be placed in the correct position for best pain relief. So it is best to have someone assist you, either a birthing partner or a medical advisor, when you position the pads. So you need to ensure that the unit is turned off. Then you carefully peel the pads from the plastic backing using your finger and thumb, and do not pull on the lead wires. Then you position the top 2 pads connected to the left socket CH1, approximately 4 cm either side of the spine and 4 to 5 cm above the imaginary navel line as seen in this image. Then you position the 2 pads connected to the right socket CH2, approximately 4 centimeters either side of the spine and 4 to 5 centimeters below the imaginary navel line as seen in the image. So it actually doesn't really matter which channels you use, left or right for the top or the bottom, but obviously the 2 wires go either at the top or 2 wires go either at the bottom, and you just need to know which channel you have for which wires. Here you can see it attached to my back. And now let's turn on the device. You will not be able to feel any vibrations unless you put these pads to your skin. You can also test it on your hand, but you need to put them on your skin and then turn on whatever channel you have connected to the pad in order to feel these electric vibrations. Now here is the Elle TENS 2 device. Let's walk you through these different settings, modes, channels, etc. And let's turn it on. When you turn it on, it just says burst 1 and there won't be any vibration. So as I said before, the left-hand channel here, they say you should have it for the top ones, but it doesn't really matter, top or bottom pads, which channel you have. You just have to remember which channel you use them. So let's turn it on, the burst 1 for the top channel. We press CH1 and you can see there it starts. This is when you will feel some vibration, electric charge through the pads. You press plus to increase the strength and minus to decrease it. Now here you can see the original Elle TENS device, and you can see there is the burst 1 next to it, and then on top of it you can see sort of these rings, and on top of it are numbers. That's basically the channels, the settings. It's just slightly different than the Elle TENS 2 device, but the buttons are all the same. As I said, it just doesn't have the contraction timer. And let's also turn on the other channel, the bottom pads, the lower ones here. And this is sort of the initial mode, burst 1 on the Optimax 150. Now here is the boost button, which is really useful. You can see it also starts counting the contraction. The boost sort of sends an extra sort of charge to your back. And yeah, it is really useful when the contractions get really intense. Then you can press the right hand boost 1 button. It's the same on the Elle TENS original device, but as I said, the Elle TENS 2 also has a contraction timer. So when you press this boost 1, it will time your contraction here, and on the left it will time the length between contractions, okay? So here is BCT, it shows you this is 7 seconds apart, here 9, and then it starts with a contraction. CT, this contraction was 3 seconds long, and BCT here you can see. And here you can press Optimax, that's where you can also change the strength of the electric vibration. Optimax in burst 1 mode. And so it goes up to 250 here. Then on the mode button, you can also switch between burst 1 and burst 2. Sort of burst 1 is for sort of normal labor, the beginning stages, and burst 2 is more for sort of active labor, when you need it a bit stronger. And then you can also change it with the Optimax setting. So now let's show you again the contraction timer, the boost button. So you're in active labor, you boost your TENS device when you get a contraction. Here CT, and it shows you the contraction length. It's just really useful. It kind of really distracted me. So now let's here stop it. It's 15 seconds long, the contraction. They are much longer usually. And BCT shows you the lengths between contractions. And that's it. Very simple to use, actually. I can definitely recommend you using a TENS machine during labor. This Elle TENS 2 is great with the contraction timer as well, but the Elle TENS, the original one, is also very good. I can definitely recommend you these TENS devices.